Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we are going to continue showing you the raw data, the Epstein files, the photographs that have now been out in the public arena for several days. Now, apparently it's being reported that 16 files so far have been pulled from the original release. We've not only pointed out the fact that you have tons of blackouts on these photographs, sometimes the whole thing, but then you also seem to be missing files. Like the first tranche of image files, they were in order, they were properly marked. That's why I was doing 1,000 at a time, because I was looking through the 1,000, and then I was grabbing the ones, not making you watch my busy work. But now that essentially these files are mismatched, there are heavy redactions. We showed you the redactions surrounding Les Wexner yesterday in the photographs. We've got to do it live. We've got to do it live. We've got to show you everything, and we will go from there. Now, I want people just to check out this thumbnail really quick. Again, you notice that Epstein is in an NYPD outfit. As far as I know, we're pretty much the only operation out there that has showed you the closet with not one NYPD uniform, but several. Okay? Lot of people showing the IDF t-shirt. Okay, guys, we know through mainstream reporting, this last New York Times kind of whitewash in particular, he was on regular trips to the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia. Hence the Saudi Arabian passport that I've been harping on for a very, very long time. In fact, again, I haven't seen anyone else report on this yet, but if you were watching this, you also saw that that safe had at least 2 passports and the chance that a third booklet could have been yet another passport from that safe. Just pointing that out. And I would also say that there was talk of money in that safe, I believe, jewelry in that safe. I didn't see those photographs. Now, were they just not photographed during the evidentiary period and then presented during the trial when it was reported on? I doubt it. So there seems to be plenty here that is being obfuscated. And from what I can see, we're probably going to go over, 300 to 400 pictures today, live. And we do it live. We do it raw here. But before we get there, I want to take you just quickly on the journey of the real Epstein scandal, the starting point of Epstein via the intelligence networks, via the Iran-Contra affair. Now, look, I get it. I'm like tail end Gen X. I was born in 79 when a lot of this network was being solidified, set up, if you will, via the Mujahideen, via the Sandinistas, via the Central Intelligence Agency, via the Israeli intelligence agencies, brokerages, French intelligence is involved, British intelligence is involved. Pakistan is involved in that network. There's a lot of people involved in that network, okay? Now, did I know Epstein was a part of that network? Obviously not. Or he would be part of what I'm going to show you today from my film Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. However, when I put this out, it was put out in 2010. I'd worked on it. At InfoWars alone for a good year plus. But post 9/11, it's probably like a 5-year project for me. I went around and I just, even before this was a thing, I need to write a script. So I just I went around and I found as much information on the quote unquote New World Order that I could in video format and ordered those videos from places like C-SPAN, the Vanderbilt Archive, etc. Conducted my own interviews, and I think Invisible Empire is one of my strongest films. Now, it is narrated by me, but if you're watching this and listening to this, it shouldn't be an issue. We're going to play the Iran-Contra section to let you know why they don't want you to understand Epstein was an integral part of this. Now, one of the names I don't bring up on this is Adnan Khashoggi. Totally part of it, was never convicted of it, but anyone can look into Adnan Khashoggi. And what's been breaking now is Douglas Leese and Epstein, Bear Stearns and BCCI, of course, Bear Stearns and Epstein at that time as well. And just all the puzzle pieces are falling into place. We're going to show you where that is as well. Okay, we're going to show you where that is. I watched Mike Benz do a presentation on it. I love Benz. I wish he would curse a little less. But then again, I'm a sailor. I curse a lot too. And in the past, I've done that. I've shied away from it as much now. And it is a little bit repetitive over and over again, but the baseline points are there. Okay, so I'm going to point you to that, and then we're going to watch this, and then we're going to go over 300 to 400 pictures in live time, okay, from the Epstein file. So I need you to thumbs it up, subscribe, share, comment down below, not just in the live stream. And I want to thank so many of you for coming through and supporting the broadcast here. We've had 370 supporters. Imagine if we got another 30 today, folks. Just another 30 at $5 a pop. That would be huge. I want to thank Anthony M., Nick Mack, Vic, Marshall, and Taya, Jerry, Jimmy, and more. Guys, I cannot do this without you. I wish that we had the paychecks we once did. That's when, I would lightly brush over this. I would barely talk about donations. Listen, Christmas season, I'm waiting for a call to go grab my car, of which I only got 3 of the 4 things done because that cost me over $1,000. Wouldn't have been able to do that without you. I want to thank everybody. If you can find it in your hearts to donate to original independent media outside of this, left, right, and even alt media circle, think about it. Thank you so much if you have. Bermas Brigade, you rock. MarigoldResources.com, they buy and sell businesses. They support the broadcast. Thank you, Marigold. We appreciate that. And then, of course, the River City Reader, run by my man, McGreevy. Todd McGreevy does a great job. In fact, I might be doing I think Friday broadcast after Christmas with him on some local politics here in the Quad Cities that, of course, actually affect all of us. Give me a follow on X where I've lost followers and subscribers continually if you look at the numbers. There is no growth here. The idea that this is a free speech platform, bull. Right now on YouTube, I'm allowed to say more and have a larger audience than X with Google. Think about that. And they're still just musking it up. The musker nuts and up. Here we go. I want you to watch this. We're not going to play it here. It's got a ton of views over on X. It should have more, actually. But this gets into Epstein, Bear Stearns, and BCCI. All right, we're about to play my film, Invisible Empire and New World Order Defined. Now, I want to point this out. Again, in that second data dump that we're on right now, files seem to be misnumbered, mismatched. There seems to be missing files. It's being reported, this is CBC, that 16 files have disappeared from the case. There was one with the drawer open where there were a bunch of photographs and Donald Trump's photograph. We showed it here. All those photographs have been in the public arena for years, well before these trials. Just saying. There's Epstein right there in his NYPD outfit. Remember, he's got multiple NYPD outfits. We also showed you the naval outfit that he had. He had the NYPD outfit. He had the naval outfit. Of course, he had, the Israeli Defense Force T-shirt. He had, I believe it was an Army and a Navy sweatpants, Harvard sweatpants he was wearing. We don't pick and choose here, okay? We put out the real deal. And by the way, if you want to see the source article that Benz is going to here, which, again, now has Epstein with Douglas Leese, yet another arms dealer. They don't want you to know that Jeffrey Epstein was in the arms trade, okay? Because that involves what? The Central Intelligence Agency. That involves wars we should have never been involved in. And as you're about to find out, okay, it involves a whole lot more. So we're going to play this subsection of Invisible Empire and New World Order Defined that is for free in the playlist section right now. We got a ton of new members in the audience. Please go watch this film. Please go, if you want to see the overarching manipulation of we the people, this is it. Okay, so here's Iran-Contra. Here's why it's still relevant. We're going to go over that and then hit these photographs.
Despite the elite utilizing Bernays' methods, in conjunction with the military-industrial complex they had erected, a modern arm of this organization was exposed in what came to be known as the Iran-Contra scandal. Essentially, black operations were not only caught dealing arms illegally and supporting South American dictators, but also smuggling drugs into the United States.
Iran-Contra was really the merging of two different programs. The first one was support for the Contras, who were, let's face it, a force of terrorists in Nicaragua trying to overthrow the Sandinista government. They were being secretly supported by the CIA, and at the bottom of the whole thing was drugs.
Iran-Contra was openly exposed by massive network coverage.
How was it that in 3 years, a network Washington set up to run arms to the Contras wound up running cocaine into this country for the most vicious drug cartel in the world? At the same time, we were supposed to be fighting a war against drugs.
But by the same token, I also smuggled my share of weapons in exchange for those illegal substances, with the full knowledge and assistance of both the DEA and CIA.
Betzner says that in 1983 he flew weapons from Florida to El Salvador and drugs from Colombia to the Bahamas on the way back. In 1984, he says, he flew twice from Florida to Costa Rica and back.
We could bring back our own cargo, and they would arrange it, or we could bring back their cargo without ever having to worry about interception, arrest, anything like this, that everything was taken care of.
What kind of cargo were you talking about?
Drugs.
Tolliver says he had 2 meetings with this man, CIA veteran Rafael Quintero. Then in March of 1986, he says he flew 14 tons of weapons down to Honduras, to this Contra resupply base set up by the CIA.
We take off from Tegucigalpa, Honduras, and we leave.
To?
South Florida.
Where in South Florida?
We landed at Homestead.
Homestead?
Air Force Base.
This is the plane Tolliver says he used. The plane traces to a company that had a State Department contract to fly humanitarian supplies to the Contras. In addition to that, 3 dozen sources confirm the basic scheme.
We can now report that long before that operation began, there was another operation to provide guns for the Contras, which was also against the law. In this operation, Americans and Israelis provided arms to the Contras, and then the same network smuggled drugs into the United States.
The operation was launched in spring of 1983 at Washington's request, with at least $20 million of Israeli government money later reimbursed, we're told, from U.S. Covert Operations Fund.
For about 5 years, people were flying arms into Iran, and most of them came from Israel.
The Israelis purchased the weapons from Poland and Czechoslovakia and began shipping them secretly from Yugoslavia to Bolivia and then to Panama. The Israeli liaison man there, this man, Michael Harari, until recently a close aide to Panama's strongman, General Manuel Noriega.
You'd bring the ship into Colombia, you would load drugs aboard it, and you would bring those drugs back to Panama with you. But bringing that stuff into the United States, that was something else. I've never been so thoroughly disgusted with myself in my life.
This network would also be involved in the October surprise.
We really can't understand that unless we understand the so-called October surprise in the 1980 election, which is, I think, unquestionably Republicans, including William Casey, who later became Reagan's head of the CIA, negotiated with the Iranians for them not to release the hostages which were being held in Iran to Carter, but to wait until the Carter was defeated and the Republicans were in. That is what actually happened, that the hostages were only released on the day that Carter left office and Reagan came in.
Unbelievably, this same network would even be linked to the BCCI banking scandal by journalist Danny Casolaro.
Casolaro was probing a conspiracy he called the Octopus, which involved the Iranian hostage crisis, the Iran-Contra affair, with, believe it or not, all funds channeled through BCCI, the international bank charged with everything from money laundering to fraud.
BCCI, it's a shadowy international bank linked to terrorists, drug runners, and dictators.
Little was known about BCCI until 6 of its top officers were arrested in Tampa in October of 1988 on charges of laundering drug money for Colombian cocaine bosses. The BCCI men were convicted, and the bank itself pleaded guilty. But for some reason, the bank was allowed to continue to operate all over the world.
There are indications that some of the reluctance to prosecute this bank stem from the favors it did.
For?
The favors it did for intelligence services everywhere. Too many secrets of too many countries, too many prominent people, too many hands-on, and that makes it desirable that this entire affair be forgotten.
It began to become clear that the global traffic of drugs were funding violent dictators, rigging elections, supporting the arms trade, and enforcing the assassination of anyone who got in the way. Casillero was found dead for his efforts in exposing this network. His death, of course, ruled a suicide.
He was meeting a source in West Virginia. He was about to discover all. Instead, his body was discovered in a hotel room with 12 slashes in his wrist, but when the local authorities ruled it suicide, the family said, no way. The housekeeper had taken calls threatening his life.
And I pick it up telephone, I say hello, and he say to me, you son of a bitch, you's dead.
Casillero would not be the only person involved in the scandal to wind up in a casket. Meet Barry Seal. At first, the media portrayed Seal as a drug dealer gone good, who was assassinated by the Colombian mafia.
Authorities believe last night's machine gun killing of top drug informant Barry Seal was ordered by drug bosses in Medellin, Colombia, who sent 5 men to Baton Rouge to kill Seal.
Sam Dalton was the lawyer that represented the Colombian hitmen convicted of his assassination. We were trying to subpoena the CIA because we felt like they had documents, exhibits, and evidence that would indicate complicity in Seal's assassination. When they were able to gain access of Barry Seal's trunk the night of the murder, the personal phone number of none other than George H.W. Bush was present. Louis Unglesby, the former attorney for Mr. Seal, also confirms that he once called the office of the vice president after Seal had given him the number. You see, the Black Ops drug smuggling operation had not yet been exposed, and intelligence couldn't take any chances. It was later revealed that Seal was involved in smuggling cocaine into Mena, Arkansas, while Bill Clinton sat as governor.
1983, Ronald Reagan was president, Bill Clinton was governor, and little Mena, Arkansas changed from a quiet town to a center for drug smuggling and reported Contra support activity. In the middle of it all, this man, admitted dope smuggler Barry Seal.
Arkansas State Trooper Russell Welch investigated Seal's organization.
Each trip would have 250 to 350 pounds of cocaine.
According to the London Telegraph, Arkansas State Trooper Larry Patterson testified under oath that he and his officers discussed repeatedly in Clinton's presence the large quantities of drugs being flown into Mena Airport, large quantities of money, large quantities of guns. Hot Springs police officers would also record Roger Clinton, Bill's brother, during a cocaine transaction stating, "Gotta get some for my brother. He's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner." There was also a large amount of money laundering going on in Mena.
Former IRS agent William Duncan traced some of Seal's drug profits laundered through Mena banks.
We had direct testimony from people who were involved in the money laundering operation. We had testimony from people at banks who observed the transactions.
What happened when you tried to make this case before a grand jury?
I was never asked to present the evidence to a grand jury, ever.
This very same network used BCCI to fund the Afghani rebels.
The deputy director of the CIA, Richard Kerr, said late today that the CIA did use the Bank of Credit and Commerce International, BCCI, to support CIA activities overseas.
Most people still believe that the Soviets had maliciously invaded Afghanistan in order to spread their communist agenda.
The Al-Qaeda was essentially a kind of a byproduct of Brzezinski's campaign to embarrass the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. They weren't in Afghanistan at that time. Brzezinski boasted later that he was responsible for drawing them into Afghanistan. And he did this extraordinary interview with Le Nouvel Observateur in France, and they said, but aren't you worried that you've created this whole new force of Al-Qaeda? And he said, oh, what's more important, a few crazed Islamists or the fall of the Berlin Wall? And they said, but you know, is there no danger? Aren't they dangerous? And he said, nonsense. He said all this in 1998. So I knew Brzezinski at McGill University. We were students together and took very small classes together. And in some ways he's bright, and in some ways he's kind of nuts. And he had the kind of nuttiness that made him attractive to the Rockefellers.
Bin Laden and his network were actually funded by BCCI through U.S. covert operations.
Well, the reason I bring it up, if you've ever heard any of our call-in shows, you know that we have people that think about the conspiracy theories of people like you. You would be a poster child for these people because you have served on the board of the Council on Foreign Relations. You helped start the Trilateral Commission, and you've been to the Bilderberger Group. Are people too close in this world, people in business, too close to the governments?
Well, you know, there is such a thing as insidious influence. And the question is, how does it operate? Does it involve bribery? And does it involve some sort of psychological domination of individuals? I don't believe in this notion of some sort of secret societies controlling people. But of course, in any political system, there are sort of over-the-table and under-the-table arrangements.
Arrangements that involved ruthless, illegal, and immoral activities in order to dominate humanity.
And there you go. And one of the reasons I let that run at the very end, other than Brzezinski being a part of that, okay, is in that same article, again, that largely is a whitewash, trying to say there aren't intelligence connections. They talk about Epstein and David Rockefeller and a personal relationship and donations and the Trilateral Commission, of which Brzezinski helped start with Rockefeller on the way back from a Bilderberg meeting. So if you've never seen that, again, my documentaries, in my opinion, are much better, okay, much better than what I'm able to present here. Don't get me wrong. I love the show. I love the interviews. I love all that stuff. But if you've not seen those documentaries, please go watch them. Please share them. And again, if you think they're worthwhile, they are free. Put them on a USB. Share them with other people. Give them the link. Donate to the broadcast again if you think it's worthwhile. So here we go. So yeah, it looks like this is supposedly picture 261 of 699 apparently. All right. But it's weird because I feel like I only, from the folder that they're in, it's telling me there are only 474 items. So I don't know. My computer's been buggy lately. Not sure who that individual is. And remember, a lot of these individuals, I'm not going to know who they are. We saw Brett Ratner, you know, the director, filmmaker, had some pretty bad allegations against him, kind of fell by the wayside, but he was with Jean-Luc Brunel on the Epstein estate, it seemed. So, again, maybe you guys know who these guys are. They're not ringing a visual bell. It seems like... by the way, they like taking pictures of people asleep. Like, for some reason. Oh, yeah, he's asleep. Okay. So another rock concert, a separate rock concert with Mick Jagger. And again, Mick Jagger, we had a lot of blackouts after the one rock concert. We had a couple blackouts during the rock concert. And then we also had what seemed to be a separate set of photographs, maybe from this trip with Mick Jagger and Clinton. There's Fergie right there. That, for those that don't know, that is the ex-wife of Prince Andrew. Been a couple of photographs involving Prince Andrew. And there's Fergie and somebody. So, you don't hear her being brought up in the Epstein case too much. Certainly I haven't seen people reporting on that and that relationship. They've truncated the narrative so much. For some reason, they want to make it about just Trump or Clinton or just those two people. Again, we played the clip of Thomas Massey yesterday discussing how he named Jess Staley of J.P. Morgan. And remember, J.P. Morgan, massive payout to a bunch of these victims. You don't hear about that either. Just bizarre, in my opinion. Bizarre. Let's go right here. Let's keep doing this. Okay, so here's some Les Wexner action with no censorship. Seems to be at a hotty-totty event. And there's Epstein, smug. You got two women on the inside right there. Oh, here's the drag queen photographs I've seen. Watch out. Yep. Not sure who this drag queen is or what event this is. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, I'm glad they at least censored out the buttocks. Not that I necessarily think in documents like this they should be doing that, but it's consistent with what they've been doing throughout these documents. Okay. Odd one of Epstein on the ground. He's got the little American flag, so you wonder what shirt he's wearing there. I can't tell what sweatpants those are, but there's a little dog on a checkerboarded floor. And another one. And another one. Did I mention another one? And another one. And another one. So now we're on the plane, or maybe the helicopter. Tough to still tell. Looks like a copter. That's copter. That's not a plane. So if I'm looking at the ground below them, maybe they're on their way to Zorro Ranch. And that appears to be, I assume, is Ghislaine Maxwell flying the helicopter. Maybe not. Maybe not. But no, that's definitely Ghislaine Maxwell. Just from the features and the hair right there, even if it's a little obfuscated, yes. Ghislaine Maxwell flying the helicopter. There's Ghislaine again flying the helicopter. In fact, if you want to see, her hand is actually on the thing right there. More Ghislaine Maxwell. This guy. Lots of pictures of this guy. Whoever this guy is. Don't know. Don't know. And it's okay to say you don't know. I didn't get through it last night, but a lot of people talking about the Chappelle comedy special that came out over the weekend. Certain things politically I agree with, some that I don't so far. Okay. Still pretty funny. Certainly not the funniest comedy that I've seen recently. A few belly laughs, and this isn't a knock on Dave Chappelle. I mean, I watch a lot of comedy, and I go to shows. Just saying. I'm not saying he's lost anything, and I look forward to watching the second half. I was kind of dozing off during the first half, trying to get some sleep. But I know there's been an uproar on all sides on the things he said, etc. Still a very smart guy with an opinion worthwhile. And it's not just about being smart with an opinion. It's about being funny. Remember, comedy's supposed to be funny. I think I'm hilarious. But at the same time, we only crack small jokes here and there when we are dealing with such heavy subject matter. So let's see. We got a couple guys at the bar. We got some helicopter stuff with Ghislaine. Got ranching. Okay. We got that guy with a gun. And some kind of looks, I don't know if it's a range or not, but both of them got the earpieces on. We got ping pong Epstein, more ping pong Epstein, some ping pong, a lot of blurry photos of Epstein playing ping pong. Maybe he's moving like Forrest Gump on there. See? Some stupid humor. Looks like Epstein on a pier. Probably with Ghislaine there. Maybe not. It looks like a hairy-armed dude, but then there's the bag. Yeah, that's not Ghislaine. Is that Jean-Luc Brunel? That's a different guy, but that looks like Jean-Luc. A lot of Jean-Luc hanging out. Jean-Luc Brunel, of course, no longer alive. Died in his prison cell. He said suicide. And it very well may have been. I'm sure they did not give him the best of conditions, if you will, in his cell. I think it was in Spain. More Epstein. And, you know, here's a question. I guess they could be in Europe and he could be in Paris. And he does have that Paris estate that was never investigated. Is this Epstein's Paris home? Are they looking at a house? I don't know. There's Ghislaine tugging on some things. See, this looks like a total estate and not an apartment either. So, probably not that. Some artwork here. Using perspective. Fancy car in a very fancy room. Not sure who we got here in the background. Let's see what we got. Not sure who we got here in the background, but I hate it when we do this. Oh, I'm sorry about the flashes, everybody. Looks like I went too far. Nope. Okay, let's see. Way too far. There it is. I don't know. I don't want to zoom in too much more because then we might get lost. But there we go. Maybe people know who that representation is. Maybe they don't. Pool room. Looks like some farm equipment, possibly. It's a big estate wherever they're at, I'll tell you that. Oh, there's Neptune again. Neptune's around, man. Remember, Neptune and Pan were both, had little mini statues on opposite ends of each other over on the island. Mysterious Monuments, Tex Mars. They got a lot of Neptune stuff in there. Okay, we got somebody on some farm gear. Epstein with an individual. Not sure who it is. More Epstein. Blurry Epstein. Epstein. Helicopter and Epstein. Let's see. Bring these down a little bit. More helicopter and Epstein. Jean-Luc Brunel on the helicopter with Epstein. And this is why I would have rather just gone through the 1,000 photographs, guys, and saved you the busy work. But the mismatching of the files, I couldn't do it. I apologize about that. Epstein sneakers, red glasses Epstein. What's this? Oh, see, and here we go. This is a fun one because everybody's always talking about the Israeli stuff. He's got the United States Secret Service shirt on. Now, again, we got pictures of what we assume is a Secret Service agent on some of the Clinton trips, right, that they took. He's got the earpiece in. Looks very Secret Service. You have to know that the Secret Service was around Epstein because they were around Clinton. It looks like Epstein at the grotto, maybe back at the island. Yep, that's what that looks like to me. Grotto Epstein. Grotto Epstein. No. Is this Island Epstein or separate Island Epstein with topless dude? Could be Island Epstein. And you're taking a look. I don't know who this guy is, but I'm sure I think we've seen him in other photographs. I'm pretty sure people have identified whoever that is. But certainly a meeting with him and Epstein. And then Epstein in a helicopter. Looks plain. Extravagant birthday party Epstein. And Epstein in a Navy hoodie. Oh, we got him. We got it. He's got the Israeli Defense Force shirt. Oh, he's got the Navy hoodie. He's got the Secret Service deal. Let's keep... who's that? See, you couldn't see him before. Who's blowing out candles with Epstein? Actually, no, I'm just going to look because I don't want to say it's him if it doesn't look like him. But I've got an idea. We're still not going to go with it. We're still not going to... Not close enough, everybody. Not close enough. All right, let's continue on down this trail. Let's see. So it looks like we got some plain stuff with Epstein. Some newspapers underneath are showing. I don't know why. There's Jean-Luc Brunel. Seems to be two women who are blacked out, and I'm not sure who's next to Jean-Luc Brunel. What's he wearing? God, that's a ridiculous outfit, huh? So this also looks like some birthday party type thing, maybe for the guy in the middle. We got a flamingo. I don't know if it's a real one or not. Let's zoom in. Some dude with a flamingo. No, yeah, that's a real flamingo. Look at the leg. right? I think it's a real flamingo. I don't know. Yeah, those are real flamingos, I think, because there's another dude grabbing a flamingo. Here's Richard Branson on the island. 2 women in the background, blacked out face. Epstein enjoying some either crab or lobster or both. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so there's another individual. I'm going to call him not Pauly Shore. Shares some features of Pauly Shore, but obviously not Pauly. Epstein up close, too close Epstein. Epstein not loving it. Lots of Epstein in these files. Oh, we don't see this one. Chairman Mao Epstein. Epstein with his little CCP hat. See, there's a lot of dress up going on with Epstein. With political power player type clothing. So now we've seen him in a naval uniform. We got the thumbnail with him in the NYPD shirt. All right. We just saw the Secret Service shirt. We've seen all the sweatpants and yada, yada, yada. And now little Communist Party red star hat. Nice. Not sure who that smiling guy is or any of these individuals are. Although this guy right here on the right seems important. And there's the colors of the Israeli flag on the whatchamacallit, the umbrella above. Now these look like Middle Easterners. Huh? Maybe some arms dealing interests? I don't know. I hate it when they have the picture and then they have the blur. It's so weird to me they would even include the blur in these dumps because it's obviously the same picture. Like, what's going on here? That's what I mean. It's like some of these things seem so amateur hour, the way they've been presented. So Epstein acknowledging he's falling asleep and then smiling when he realizes they're taking pictures of him. Back to smug Epstein. This is Epstein Island. Obviously, you can see by the umbrellas that's Jean-Luc Brunel. Now Jean-Luc Brunel, he's also wearing the Chairman Mao Communist Chinese hat. See, this is frustrating that we got to sit here and go through like doubles and triples of blur stuff too. And I would have only done like 1 or 2 of probably the lighted photograph and said there were several photographs of Brunel. Had these been marked right? Now this one is causing alarm. There's a couple of these, and rightfully so. First of all, it's tatted up Epstein. Look how cool he is. But then you see a little foot right here in a crock. Little foot in a crock. Definitely from what we see. And there's another photo right here. And this one. Little legs. This is obviously a child of some sort. It's throwing it out there. And again, not saying anything nefarious happened to this kid. Just, again, this one causing controversy out there. We're seeing people talk about it. Maybe it's this guy's son, right? I don't know. That's one of the guys that was at the dinner. Again, they love just taking pictures of people asleep. I assume they put the teddy bear there next to him because they thought they were funny, right? And the Epsteins love the trashy leopard print and all that good stuff. We've seen that again and again and again. On the range. Oh, shooting shotguns. So quite a few range photos here. Quite a few range photos. Oh, we got the machine guns out. Not sure who's shooting here. Maybe it's that guy. I don't know. JEE, Nadia's property. Huh. He liked getting things inscribed, by the way, with the JEE. Don't know what the Nadia's. Well, I do actually. Nadia's property would be Nadia Marcinkova, and that's not a huge leap. Or Nadia Marcinko, one of the co-conspirators. But one of the co-conspirators that I certainly have some empathy for, as if you've read through the documentation that's been out there for years, there is some documentation to suggest that Epstein bought her when she was 14 years old from her Yugoslavian parents. So there's birthday Epstein. More birthday Epstein. Oh, Ghislaine doesn't want to get involved in birthday Epstein, but she gets silly stringed. There's Walter Cronkite. Okay, first picture I've seen of Walter. Not sure who's with Epstein and Walter Cronkite, but there's America's most trusted man. There he is. Okay. Some more Walter Cronkite. Some more Walter Cronkite. Walter. Who's in the middle? Does anybody know who's in the middle? You want to let me know, Bermas Brigade? Someone's saying Madelson, but maybe that's not them. I don't know. I don't know who that is. But I do know Walter. Oh, boy. Here we go. So, this is the one that everybody's like. There's one coming up. That one right there, where she doesn't have any pants on. She's in a bathrobe. Boy, man, Jean-Luc Brunel, what a creep. He's always smiling, got some creepy face on. There it is. There's the Epstein NYPD. He's not just in his closet. He's wearing New York Police Department shirts. There they are. He's got more than one of them. So there is NYPD Epstein. Again, one of the reasons we started with the Iran-Contra affair is because that's the main thing that they're going to try to obfuscate throughout this. And then whatever other intelligence operations and arms deals he did throughout the years. Because Ehud Barak was, yes, the Israeli prime minister. He was also the defense minister. And he's clearly doing business in that arena into the late 90s, early 2000s as well. 100%. 100%. Prince Andrew, arms dealer. Just getting it out there. I mean, you want to know where the money's coming from? Lots of money in big bombs and death machines. Just throwing it out there, guys. Throwing it out there. We got about 200 more of these. That's right, 200 more photographs. So let's get the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. And once again, guys, cannot do it without you. Please consider donating down below, or even a super chat. We will go to your super chats on air if you've got commentary right now on the Epstein files. Perhaps you found something that I have not. So let's continue down. More Epstein. And there's Epstein and Brunel. Epstein in a truck. Let's see. This might be over at the ranch. This looks like maybe New Mexico. Yep, this is the New Mexico estate. Now, again, this is the estate. Maybe that was where the gun range was, too. I'm not sure. But this is the estate that was never investigated. Never investigated. And that's criminal. Jean-Luc Brunel on a fire truck. Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, the pilot of Epstein. This guy's rather famous. He's got some pictures with Billy Boy Gates. Invisible Epstein. So I don't know if he's asleep while they're doing this to him. Oh, no. Ugh. Even I have my Epstein limits, guys. Even I have my Epstein limits. A lot of people I don't know in this. Oh, is that massage time other guy? Because now it looks like we're back on the island. He's got that blue-white motif. And you got the palm trees, and there's Brunel. And there's Ghislaine on the island. Lots of birthday. They love celebrating birthdays, huh? Big on the birthdays with Epstein. Big on the birthdays. More Brunel. Not Brunel. Is that... You know what? Again, that appears to be somebody that worked for Epstein. I don't want to speculate as to who that individual is, but I might have an idea. Well, do we want to look at what they eat there? Some melons. Looks like some Chinese food. I don't know where you'd even get Chinese. Maybe it's not Chinese food. Maybe they got the tubs. But it sure looks like Chinese food. If they're on the island, it seems tough. But maybe they're in New York at this point. I don't know. I don't know. Dogs. Rain. No, I think they're still on the island. This all screams of the island. Obviously still there. Okay, Ski-Doo. Jean-Luc Brunel, the boat. Man, that water in those islands. Lots of Brunel and Epstein on a boat. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll say this. You know those binders that we know about? Maybe these are the things that are coming from the binders. We certainly had the one marked Cronkite, etc. There were still some names that were blacked out. These very much could be those binders. Just want to point that out. Some helicopter action. More helicopter action. And I hate the fact that a lot of these are doubled over. More helicopter stuff. Not sure who these individuals are. But let's see. That might be the pilot. I'm not sure. The regular, like, not helicopter pilot. Oh, no. There we go. Looks like the pilot. Looks like he's doing helicopter stuff too. Maybe he's also doing the plane stuff. I don't know. Maybe they're separate. Looks similar. Lots of Epstein. Lots of Brunel. But I will say this. None of this is like the hard drive stuff, right? None of this is any of the surveillance stuff. Ugh. Just a bunch of Brunel. Too much Brunel for me. There's Ghislaine Maxwell. Is that David Copperfield? That looks like David Copperfield to me. And every once in a while we get to a Walter Cronkite. Maybe that's not David Copperfield, but sure looks like David Copperfield. And a magician has been named, but then again, so has David Blaine. Sure looks like David Copperfield to me. I mean, again, guys, you tell me. Is that David Copperfield? Sure looks like Copperfield and Ghislaine. And, of course, he's in the nice little robe. Right? Maybe he's going to make those marbles or whatever those are. Some kind of treats disappear. Oh, Copperfield with the leg up on Ghislaine. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay. Okay. Ghislaine and Brunel. More of this. We're coming up on the end stretch here. Last 20 or so, everybody. Is this Wexner at the island? I guess I can't tell. Somebody at the island. This is definitely the island estate, I think, with the palm tree. But somebody there. Maybe Epstein showing them their way out. Let's get back here. Okay. Brunel, smoking Marbs. Epstein. Oh, I don't want to see these. These, I know what these are. The last 16 picture. This is like the foot rub one, and ugh, I hate this. Don't want to do it, but we're gonna do it. So them joking around. Brunel, there's the foot rub. Gross, gross. Oh, I can't even do it. Oh, the last. Oh boy. And that's it. That's the first 2 out of 4 data dumps, at least for image files. We're going to continue going over them. Again, I can't do it without you guys. I've got to reiterate that. I cannot do this without you. I hope that you guys enjoyed Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defines. Iran-Contra section. If you came in early, once again, I need you now more than ever. We also got the PayPal down below. I want to thank everybody that supported via the PayPal, jasonisvoid@yahoo.com. Still have yet to get that Venmo, Jason Bermas, Bermas. Again, $5, $10, $15. Thank you, big donors. Again, it's the holiday season. This is it. Unexpected car issues. I know. We've all got life. But I want to thank those that have made my life somewhat easier helping out and continue to do so. We're going to go through all these Epstein files. Maybe the next ones are going to be marked correctly. And in that respect, then I can go back to not having to go through every single one and just picking out the ones that I need and then doing that. We'll see. If you like this reporting, if you like seeing the raw materials, if you like seeing, the Copperfield and the Cronkite stuff and the police uniform stuff, not only give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, ring the bell, but consider donating down below. Thank you. It is not about left or right. It is always, always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all